All right, so my name is Emmanuel. I'm a software engineer at Kumasi Hive. Um, the rest doesn't really matter, but I'm the head for Creativity Group now. And if you don't know about Creativity Group, it is a student-run organization or kind of like club. Um, it is sponsored by a lot of people and a lot of organizations like Kumasi Hive and University of Michigan, Prac Science Lab. I guess you can check out more info from our website, right? So, what we are planning on doing every weekend is to have a virtual meetup so that people can learn some of the relevant skills we teach on campuses. Now, we have chapters in, I think, 7 campuses now, and we run trainings every semester. So, this year we decided to have virtual meetups every weekend so that we can kind of have a 1 hour session of the things that we mostly train on. So if you joined this meetup and you don't know what this is about, then that's it. This is a virtual meetup organized by Creativity Group just to show out some of the things we do, right, and some of the things we train on. All right, so today we are going to be learning about voice interaction design. I've been doing that for a while. I know majority of you, and I know majority of you might already know about this, but there's going to be a different point of view. So let's all get started with this and then try. Okay, another thing, we have two virtual seminars today. This is going to be on voice. After this, there is another one on mobile app development with Flutter. So right after this, I think around 9:10, 9:30, we should get started with that too. So right after this, we put a link to that one so that if you want to join, you can also work on that. All right, so let's get started. So introduction done. Great. So we are in the era of conversational interfaces. Now, um, I know this is not like a class where I can talk and then ask for feedback, right? So I'll just be talking most of the time. If you have any question, you put them in the chat and then I'll be checking them out, right? Like I'll answer those questions, we say time to time so that it can make things easier for us. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat so we don't kind of disturb each other with the audio. Okay, so we are in the era of conversational interfaces. And then if I talk about conversational interfaces, I mean the funny little things we've been seeing. Normally you talk to a device and then the device talks to you, right? That is what that is something we haven't been seeing a lot of times. So like the normal graphical user interfaces we normally see, like the buttons and then carousels we normally see on screens, right? Something we are used to. If you're a front-end engineer, you know much about these things. We are normally used to these kind of graphical user interfaces where you click and then normally we call them instructional interfaces, right? You click and then you move to the next one, you click and then you move to the next one. But I believe that we are moving into the era of conversational interfaces, which mostly is all about talking to a computer or asking a computer a question and then this computer giving you feedback on that. But how does this idea how does this idea all get started? It started with a concept called skeuomorphism. Now, skeuomorphism is more about skeuomorphism. Yeah, so sorry about that. I think my network was kind of breaking, so it was just moving fast. So yeah, the idea of skeuomorphism is using real world objects to represent. Yeah, I'm now seeing the questions about skeuomorphism, kind of answering that again. So I think yeah, I'm answering them. The idea of skeuomorphism is using real world objects to represent interfaces. So let's look at this. You know the recycle bin on our screens, right? That kind of trashy kind of but icon. Now, if you look at the recycle bin, what comes to mind, or the exact thing you see, okay, the exact thing that comes in mind is sort of like a trash, somewhere you can dump your ideas, or somewhere you can dump your things or the things you don't need, right? Yeah. When we look at something like what icon normally makes a lot of sense. Let me take the close button, for instance, close list. When you see the close button or when you see the close sign, that's the X, it feels like something that clears or deletes something away from that, right? So the idea of skeuomorphism has been the main use for graphical user interfaces for a long time. And then if you kind of look at that, it feels like it's more instructional, right? It feels like it's kind of more instructional. You do something or you see that button, and then that button also gives you an idea of what you want to do, right? But that doesn't. Let me also talk about where or how graphical or how interfaces started with. Now, in the 70s, it was all about characters, and then in the 80s, we moved to graphical user interfaces. Now, these interfaces were there for a while, and I don't know if you remember. Yeah, this is a perfect example. You see how our calculators were. I don't know if most of you were born during that era, but you see how our calculators were that kind of dot pixel kind of thing. Yeah, that is where the 70s kind of graphical user interfaces were like. And then the 80s came in with a very nice looking, but not the best interfaces. That is where Windows 7 there, with Windows Vista. No, that was. But let me take it back to, sorry, Windows XP there. That was, I think that is way closer. 7 is way higher, but around the 80s there we had some. Let me say something like that. And then the 90s came web, which also supplemented a couple of the interfaces, but it wasn't still looking great like we had. And then the 2000s came with the mobile phone. Now, the mobile phones gave us the power to carry these kind of interfaces in our pockets, right? So wherever we moved, wherever we went, we had these kind of devices with us where we can interact with easily. But we are in the era where I believe that we are more busier than we were, and we don't really need this kind of, or even though we still need them, but sometimes taking or just going around taking your phone from your pocket and then trying to talk, or maybe I want to send a message to someone and then I have to take my phone, and then as I'll be walking by the roadside typing, this is all kind of difficult for us, right? So I believe we are in the era where voice can kind of handle a lot of these things, right? But what are these voice interfaces we talk about? Like I said initially, voice is the most natural interface we will ever have as humans, right? Because when it comes to interfaces, or when it comes to these normal graphical user interfaces we have, I said initially that they are instructional. You kind of have to follow a pattern. But when it comes to voice, it feels like you are kind of talking with someone. It's sort of like an instructional, not really instructional kind of thing, but a conversational kind of thing, right? And yeah, let's look at some of the activities that voice can help us do. So, what if we could replace some of these activities like searching for apps on your screens, or trying to type your new to do list, or playing a couple of games, or even searching for friends, and then even reading some of your books with some voice people like Google Home, Amazon's Alexa, Microsoft Cortana, and Samsung's Bixby and Samsung's Bixby, we could make our lives way easier, right? So, majority of the time when I work with some of these voice interfaces, I like to use, yeah, the choice Alexa, right? Because I feel like Alexa is more, I feel like Alexa is more easy to use, and then it has a lot of integrations all around. So in much of the works, or in much of the voice interaction work I do, I normally use Alexa for that. Right? So here are some of the skills I built with Alexa. Now, like I said, I work at Kumasi Hive, so we built an assistant, or as an assistant or a skill where you can interact with Alexa and ask Alexa questions about Kumasi Hive, and then Alexa will answer those questions for you. So this is how it kind of works. You ask Alexa to open Kumasi kind of thing, and then you ask Alexa if someone is a staff at the hive. You can also ask Alexa to tell you a random fact, and then you can also ask Alexa to tell you how the hive is like. Also, there was this other skill that we built called Message Me. Message Me is kind of like, let's say, a messenger kind of thing where you don't want to be going online reading all your messages. So we built a simple page where you just go there. If you want to send a message to me, it was a one-way thing. It wasn't just for everyone. It was just a test case. So it was a one-way thing where you just send the message there through let me say a graphical user interface, right? Not through a voice interface, but through a graphical user interface. And then Alexa picks that up. You ask Alexa some messages and all that. Alexa will read and then kind of sort them with your read and then unread messages and all that. Right? So when we look at this, you realize for the first time, it kind of feels like people are rather not adapting to the way interfaces work, but we are computers or machines are now trying to adapt to us. Initially it was all like, if you want to use an interface, you have to be clicking buttons and you have to be clicking and following instructions, press this to continue, press this. But then now if it will feel more natural to feel like you are actually interacting with a human being. But there's a question that always pops up when this comes in. What if this isn't true yet? What if we are still not yet there? And this is what we always say. Every system we've ever seen in this world has a weak point, and we need to understand and then embrace those constraints. We need to know that no system is perfect, and we need to always have the right mental model when we are dealing with such systems. And then a perfect example would be when we talk about human beings flying, right? We've always heard of this analogy. He said he flew to this, he flew to this. When you hear a human being flying, the perfect let me say scenario that comes in your mind is not a human being with wings, right? But the perfect scenario would be a human being in an aeroplane flying. So we always need to understand that every system wouldn't be perfect, but we need to understand the constraints or the problems that comes with these systems and then know how to interact with them easily. And there's also a catch in there. Even though we know actual conversations with machines are still very far away, we are still not very there, we are still not very close. Like we see, even though there are a lot of works in around that field, still actual conversations with machines are still very far away. And like all other interfaces, voice also needs to be very, very intentionally designed. If you want to design a user interface, you have to sit down and then come up with inspirations and all that kind of get the design done. Voice also needs to be intentionally designed like that. You need to sit down and think of all the possible scenarios that human beings will kind of try to use to interact with these devices before you can come up with the system. But there's one thing that we always say: if you all learn to design for voice, or if you all learn to design for voice systems, then we can try and set voice free. Right? Now, I'm just going to end with this simple video of Amazon's Alexa. I'm not really sure how to play it here, but possibly I can try. But I have them all in the resource link, so I'll just share them that to later so you can just check that.
In Austin, it's 60 degrees with a... Alexa?
Amazon's Alexa lost her voice this morning, causing a
Alexa lost her voice? How is that even possible?
We have the replacements ready, just say the word.
And you're sure this is going to work?
Yeah.
Alexa, show me a recipe for a grilled cheese sandwich.
Pathetic. You're 32 years of age and you don't know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. Its name is the recipe, you...
Alexa, how far is Mars?
How far is Mars? Well, how am I supposed to know? I've never been there. This guy want to go to Mars. For what? There's not even oxygen there.
Alexa, set the mood.
Now setting the mood. You're in the bush, and you're just so dirty, and you're so sweaty, because it's hot in that bush.
Alexa, reboot.
Alexa, play some country music.
I don't dance now. I make money move.
No, Alexa, country music.
I be in and out them banks so much I know they tired of me.
Alexa, call Brandon.
I'm afraid Brandon is a little tied up. But do let me know if there's anything I can help you with. Jessica? Good boy.
Thanks, guys, but I'll take it from here.
All right. So what this ad was just
In Austin, it's 60 degrees with a
so what this ad was trying to show was that if we try replacing voice with humans, we will always not get them to do perfectly what Alexa does, right? Yeah, that's the end of this short presentation. The next part is to run us through how to build a simple skill in Alexa, and then how to build a simple dictionary kind of thing where you can ask Alexa the meaning of a word. Alexa will read that out to us. It's been messing up because when I say Alexa, it tries to open up the Alexa I have on my device. Yeah. Now, one thing I also forgot to say, Alexa can be integrated in a lot of places. I'm not going to talk about that now. I might try that at the end of the presentation because we still have a few things to talk about. Okay, so any questions before I move on to the next part?
I'm feeling warm and fuzzy because tomorrow is Valentine's Day and I'm ready to share the love.
I wasn't asking that. Any questions before I move on to the next part?
No.
Yeah, I can.
But then I wanted to ask if this particular meeting could be recorded, so that
Yeah.
for those of us not yet,
Yeah,
those
it
of
is
us
being
who actually-
recorded.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
It is being recorded. It will be up on our YouTube channel, right after. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sure. Thank you.
All right. Any other? All right. So, in order not to waste a lot of time, if you have any other questions, you can put them in the chat, and then we'll resolve them as we move on. And I think I answered, Ron, your question on the user interfaces and then skeuomorphism, right?
Yeah, you did. It wasn't actually a question. I was more of like a contribution or something like that. I mean, because I had something about skeuomorphism a while ago.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know what to do with user interfaces and all of that thing. But then I think you really answered it.
Yeah. So that's it. Skeuomorphism is just a design idea, or let me say an approach we use in designing. So like I said, a perfect example would be with design of, let's say, the recycle bin, right? Yeah, when you see the recycle bin, the perfect idea that comes in mind is like a trash can, somewhere you dump your ideas, right? So whenever you're designing interfaces, you try to make them as much as possible to resemble real life things or real life objects, so you can easily use them, right? So you don't have to always, so that when people see them, they might not get, or they might not go astray, right? But with voice, it is more natural. So you might not have to understand how interfaces work before you are able to use them. Another example would be with Photoshop. People who normally know how to use Adobe Suite devices are more, I don't know, but they are able to, maybe let's say if you know how to use Photoshop, you are able to run through Illustrator or their other tools, because you understand how, or you understand, let me say, the skeuomorphism of those tools, or kind of things there, right? Because when you see the pen tool here, you know that maybe in Illustrator the pen tool too is kind of like this, or of this shape, or of this icon, or that kind of thing, right? So the idea of skeuomorphism helps us to navigate through interfaces easily and understand them very well. But the point here is, with voice, you might not really need to understand these kind of things, right? If you are a programmer and then you've tried coding with, or maybe if you're using the command line for a while, you realize you have to know some set of commands before you do something. So if you want to create a folder, you have to say mkdir before you add. I don't know if you get the point here, right? But with voice, you can just say, oh, make a folder, create a folder, right? All these things are natural ways you talk. You don't really have to, but then you have to try and kind of make it more so MK, make, and then dir, directory, so that it will feel like it's kind of around the side. But that is not the point, right? We are humans, and then we want a natural way of talking to machines, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Any other before I move on to the coding side? All right, so great. I'll put a link to the slide in the chat so you guys can just check it out too. Sorry. All right. So yeah, in order to get started with Alexa, you have to go to developer. Let me put this link to in the chat. Developer.console. I'm sorry, developer.alexa.com. Now, when you open this link, it should take you to a page. I know majority of you might not have an account yet with it, so you might first have to sign up before you get up. But I'm not sure I might be going through all that the sign up process in order. So I'll just start from the side, creating a skill, and then just move on straight away. Right. That should be something.
One quick question. Will we actually be required to pay something for the developer on creation?
No. It's free. Okay. So last I created this account, it was free. Maybe I've not tried it today, so I'm not sure. But you don't pay anything when you're creating this, so I can't really tell for right now. But it's free. It's sort of free. You don't pay anything.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah. You don't pay anything when you create this. All right. So yeah, in order to create a skill, like I said, initially you have to go to developer.amazon.com/Alexa, and then you have to log in and do all those things. After logging in, the first thing you have to do is to create a skill. So in a skill is like an app, right? So it's just like you have a mobile app, right? And so the name of the skill is the name of the app, right? So in here, let me make the name of my skill a seminar skill, right? The default language is going to be English, and then normally you can they give you kind of templates that you can start with, but to explain things better, I'm just going to start with a custom template, right? With nothing. Now you can create a skill for briefing where to give you some news feed. You can create a skill for smart home. Maybe you are building a smart home device and then you want to use Alexa for this kind of things. You can create a skill for music. It's just going to pop up and disturb us.
CD single, listing,
Okay,
us
so
open
I think I'll just
tennis,
have to start
unresolved
Alexa.
object and others.
I think I might just have to, okay, and then stop this. Okay, I think it's good now. All right, so yeah. So you can also create a skill for videos, where Alexa, maybe you can ask Alexa to play a video or a movie, and then Alexa will do that. And then you can create a skill too for meetings and all that educational. But we're going to start with a custom skill so you get to understand how things work from here. And then Alexa also can be hosted in 2 languages, either in Node or Python. For now, you can also provision your own, but at this point, okay, I've always been using Node.js for this, so Python hasn't been the language I've been using for Alexa. But there is nothing kind of different about it. Node and Python. Let me say the style of programming is kind of like the same when it comes to the Alexas. There is nothing really different, right? It's just that the languages change, but if you understand how to code it in Node and then you know how to code in Python too, I think it shouldn't be a problem, right? So yeah, I'll go with Alexa hosted, Node.js Alexa hosted, and then I'll go with a custom and then create a skill here. All right, so now the templates are actually coming up again. We can also have a fun fact skill, but I don't need any of these templates again. I don't want to go through explaining all of them again like I did the other time just to waste a lot of time. So I'm just going to select stuff from scratch, all right, and then continue with that template. Now, as Alexa is being created, I want to talk about a few things. I have this link here where I've kept some useful links to some resources you might need when you're developing for Alexa. First on the list is Voice Summit. Now, this is a summit being held every year, like a hackathon for voice. So people come in there showing ideas or things they've created with voice, right? So you can check that too out. And I think I'll continue the rest when I talk more about Alexa. So another thing is you can code Alexa, or you can use Alexa directly in your in the offline editor. But today I'm just going to focus on using it online so that we can meeting. All right. Yes. So recursive voice. Okay, so great. So after creating a skill, you're going to have something like this. I don't know where to even start from, but yeah, on your left side, you see something like invocation, right? So invocation is what or how to call your app, right? How to call your app, as in not the name of the app, but how you want your app to be called. So if you want Alexa, maybe if you want to call your app and say that Alexa, open, let's say, seminar skill, then you put the invocation name here. If you want your invocation name to be seminar, or if you, let me use something like message bot, then you invoke your app by saying Alexa, open message bot, right? So the invocation name is how you want to invoke or call your app, right, from Alexa. Because like I said initially, this is not going to be like a graphical interface where you go through looking for your apps. This time you call Alexa and tell it more conversational. Tell Alexa to open your app, and then Alexa does that for you. So in here, I'm going to leave the invocation name as seminar skill, right? So that we can just with that. Another thing you're going to see is interaction model. And under interaction model, you see something like intents. Now, intents are, I think the name even just sounds just like something we know. Intentions, right? Something you intend to do. So if you intend to let Alexa say hello, then you can create a hello world intent. If you intend to let Alexa, if you want Alexa to say the meaning of a word, then you create, let's say, meaning of a word intent, right? That kind of thing. So intents are things you intend to let Alexa do, right? That's the kind of thing there. So, yeah, and we have a couple of already built intent for us. One of them is Amazon.cancel intent, and this is going to be used to cancel your app, or when you invoke your app and then you're using it and you want to cancel an operation, you can call the Amazon.cancel intent. You just say cancel and that's it, right? So when I click on the intent, you see the sample invocations or the utterances that can be used under that intent, right? Yeah. We don't have anything under cancel intent. Shouldn't be like that. Let me check out help too. I just feel like there's nothing here. Okay, so let me just go to what we'll be using already, the hello world intent. So under the hello world intent, we intend to let Alexa say, or we intend that someone will say hello to. Oh, okay, no problem. I'm recording it too, so yeah, I just saw that in the chat. No problem. If your network is bad, I'm recording it. I'll put it on the YouTube channel, and then I'll share the links in all the communities. So if you can't, or if you're not part of the communities, you can check out creativitygroup.org. You find the link to there. So that will be it. So under the intent, under hello world intent, you realize we have hello, how are you, say hi, and then hi. So this means that whenever you say hi to Alexa, or whenever someone says hello or how are you, you intend or you want Alexa to respond using the way it's right. So this is how intents work. Like I said, intentions, what you intend the user to be doing, or what you think the user will be doing, right? So that's the whole point about intent. And we have a lot of them there. we have a lot of them there. Like I said earlier, we have a fallback intent, navigate to home intent. Hello world is the symbol. I think it was done coding before understands this hello world intent, why this is there, right? It's just something to just show that something is working. Zero point. So yeah, that's it for this part. I'm not going to go on talking about the JSON editor and all that because I think at this point this is all I need to show you from here. So when you look at the top bar here, we have build, and then we have the code and then the test, right? In order to know that this thing is really working well, let's add another thing by saying hello seminar, or let me say hello everyone. And I'm going to add this to my intent. So whenever you say hello everyone, you want Alexa to respond in a certain way, right? And then we are going to code up the certain way we want Alexa to respond to, right? All right, so after you are done making changes to the intent, right, what you have to do is save the model that you have. So whatever you've been doing here, you have to save it first. Right? And then after it's done saving, don't forget to build it, right? Now it doesn't take long. It takes like a few seconds to build. Takes a few seconds. I think based on your network, right? So let me say that it takes a few seconds based on your network. Okay, so it's done. Because might be responding slowly, but their servers are really fast, so it builds very fast. So after building, you move to the code section where you are going to tell Alexa how to respond to those intents that you created back there. So I don't really want to make this kind of really kind of thing. I just want to explain things to you all so you all get to understand how things work in here. I'm not going to make it more like a coding. So if you've ever done Node.js before, you get to understand how this structure, but I wouldn't go on explaining all those things. I think another time we might have a simple Node.js seminar so that we explain that, and then later on, if I'm having a second version of this seminar, I can now dive deep into explaining how things work. But for now, I'm just going to make things very simple. So in every application, you realize we have a launch, or let me say how do I make it look nice? Like a launch screen, right? Something that pops up on the screen and says something or shows you something about the app, right? And then in Alexa, that's the launch request handler. So whenever your skill or whenever your app gets launched, what you want Alexa to say, right? And that is where the launch is going to show. So normally, let's say when you open Facebook, it pops up like Facebook, right? So that is Facebook's launcher, right? Or let me say the splash screen. Normally, that's how they call it, a splash screen. In Alexa, it's sort of like a launch request handler. Whenever you launch the app, what do you want it to say? So I'm going to change this launch request handler. The text in there, the speak out text in there, I'm going to make it hello everyone. Seminar, right? So that's it. That means whenever you launch Alexa or whenever you launch this, not really Alexa, but whenever you launch this skill itself, is going to show up or it's going to tell you, hello everyone, welcome to this seminar, right? The next thing you see here is the hello world intent handler. Now, this hello world intent handler handles the intent that we created back there. If you remember, I said the intent is what you intend, you think the user might be saying to Alexa that you want Alexa to respond to, right? So maybe the user might be saying hello or hi or something to Alexa. So how do you want Alexa to respond to that? And in that, this is how or what is going to handle that hello world intent. Now, there's one thing that I just want to show you. If you realize back there, the name was hello world intent. Here we are checking if the intent that was sent or the intent that the user is trying to check's name is hello world. Then we can now respond by using something like this, right? So I'm going to change this to so that when you say hello everyone or hello something, Alexa is going to say something like hi. Hi. And Yeah. Okay. Hi. Ask me anything. Let me make it out. Ask me anything. Right. I hope it makes sense. What I'm saying makes sense a little. I know it's a lot, but um, as we go on, maybe when we have this session, like 2 or 3, you might get to understand how things work. Or if you join any of our CG groups in the UI, you well, when you have chapters that takes up this, you get to understand things more. All right. So, any question? It's like someone is talking about. All right. So, like I said earlier, Hello World Intent Handler is going to handle this. Is going to handle this Hello World Intent Handler, right? The Hello World intent is going to be handled by this Hello World Intent Handler, right? So, yeah, there are other things like help intent handler, cancel intent handler, and if you look at this very well, you realize the names are all aligning to the intents that we saw in the first screen, right? In the build screen, you realize that all these intents are aligning with them. So whenever you say something like cancel to Alexa, Alexa is going to respond by saying goodbye. If you say something like a fallback, or if you say something that doesn't align with something Alexa knows, she's going to say something like, sorry, I don't know that, please try again. Or if you say any other thing that is an error or something, it's all going to be handled at this point. I'm not going to explain all these things in depth, but I'm just going to surface and make it just something. All right, so after you are done making changes to here, the next thing is to save this. And yeah, it's done. You just click on deploy. It's also going to take a few seconds. And yeah, it's done, right? So after making changes to your code editor, the next part is to test it, right? So you build where you make changes to the model, how Alexa should be interacted with, and then you code something, try and code how you want the responses or how you want those intents that you created already to be handled, and then you test it, right? I can also allow my microphone to be used, and then select development environment. All right, so first, if you want to call Alexa, you say Alexa, open, and then the name of my skill was seminar skill, right? And I press enter.
I can't find that skill. To find skills, go to the skills section of the Alexa app.
All right, so was this, I hope I didn't make any mistake with the name seminar, right? Seminar skill. I'm right. Okay.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to this seminar.
Yeah, so if you remember, I think I'll have to open it on a new tab so that we can see exactly what is going on there. So you remember from the intent or from the, let me go back there. Great. So from the invocation name, the name of the app is seminar skill. So when I call Alexa to open seminar skill, it is going to respond with, hello everyone, welcome to the seminar. And then remember, I also said the launch request handler or the launch, the launcher part, or let me say the splash screen part of our app or of our voice skill is this part where Alexa is going to respond to, or is going to handle when you call the app first or when you call the skill first, right? So this part handles you calling Alexa out or you calling the skill to do something, right? I hope it makes sense. I know I can get feedback, but yes, if you have any questions, you put that in the chat and then I'll respond to them. So launch request handler handles the first part of the app, or let me say the invocation of the app. When you call Alexa first, what you want Alexa to say, right? That is the launch request handler. That is why when we said Alexa, open this, back to it. When we say open seminar skill, it popped up saying, welcome to the seminar. Oh, so even twice. I didn't see it. Sorry. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the seminar. The other thing we saw back there was under our interaction model, under intents, we realized there was an intent called hello world, right? So that means if you say something like hello, how are you, or something, Alexa is going to respond to any of these, right? So try that out and see. Yeah. So under this, so it's more like using an app. It's more like using an app. Whenever you open the app, or whenever you open the app, whenever you're done opening the app, let me say it that way, you can interact with the app if you want. And this is what is happening here. After opening Alexa or after opening the seminar skill, I can now say something like, hello, right? Which is part of my intent. If you look closely at the intent. Now, one thing that happens here is it's not like you have to go strictly by what or the number of intents you're putting in there. From here, Alexa uses this AI and all these weird stuff. We can't talk about it, but and when you give it some intents, it builds on those intents and then learns the pattern from that, right? So when you say something around hello, hi, anything that's introductory, it is going to respond with this kind of intent, right? So when I say hello, I realize she's going to respond with exactly what we said.
Hi,
Ask
me anything.
right? And that was the exact handler we kept back there. Back at the code, we said whenever someone says any of those hello world intents or anything related to this hello, say hi, ask me anything, right? Okay, can you stop screen sharing by Baba Adam? I think yeah. Okay, I think I hope you guys can see my screen. Feedback.
Yes.
All right. So, like I said earlier, anything that you work out or any intent that you add up in the interaction model or under the intent, you have to write an intent handler for that, and then that handler is supposed to align with that intent in a way. So let's say the name of that intent, as in back here, the name of that intent is hello world intent, and this intent is going to be handled by this hello world intent by just checking it out. I don't want to make it more codey, like explaining that this Alexa object getting a request and all that. I just want to make it simple so that anyone who doesn't even know how to code here will know how to do something with this, right? Maybe we'll have another session where we talk more in depth, try and explain things very well. But for now, let's just say like, if you want to create
see the screen.
you can see the screen, right?
No, we can't see the screen.
All right. I think you should be seeing it now. All right. So I hope what I've said earlier makes sense about the intent handler and then the intents, right? The intent handler here and then the intent. So whenever you write an intent, you have to write a handler in addition, right? So let's make a few changes. I know today I have a simple plan and the time is just moving very fast. So since we started around 8:20, within 20 minutes time, we should be wrapping up. So I'm just going to make this simple. We are going to write a simple Alexa app. Then you're going to give it sort of like a dictionary kind of thing. So you ask Alexa for a word and then Alexa responds with the meaning of the word. Does it make sense? Yes. I know. Yeah, I'm just responding, but yeah, it don't make sense. So let's start it that way. In one of my Git repos, I have a gray words file. You can check it here. I'll just put that in the chat too. Yeah, a file containing a list of words and then their meaning, right? Separate by tabs, but I'm not going to pick up the whole file and then try and go through everything. I'm just going to copy a few and then use that in Alexa. So that will be it's like 15 of them, right? So back in Alexa, what we're going to do is make a simple dictionary app. I'm going to keep the invocation name still as seminar skill. I'm going to add a few things so that we can ask Alexa for the meaning of the word and then Alexa responds with that, right? So this simple JavaScript stuff, I'm not going to explain them well, but yeah, it's just going to be some simple things, not very complex. And I don't want to worry myself trying to doing all this stuff. So I'll just do this, just simpler. Okay, good. I think I'll have to be doing it individually.
We can see the screen. Oh.
All right. All right, hold on, Isaac. Let me verify this. Can you all see? Please give me feedback and let me know.
Yeah, we can see, but like if you don't zoom it, you don't see.
Oh, all right. So yeah, I mean the text is kind of okay. All right. Good. I think it's okay, right? I think it's okay, right? If you're okay, great. So yeah, I'm just going to make a object and then put some words in there. It is all right, great.
But I don't know of Isaac.
All right, Isaac, can you give us a little feedback? Is it okay? All right, I think it might be. Let's continue from there. Okay, so with the words, I just copied here. It looks like it's going to mess me up a little, so I might have to do one more thing. I might have to put them in a notepad or something so that I can just try and paste them there. Or I could put them here. Let me do this. Let me do this, and then, so I'm just going to do it. It's going to waste a lot of time. I never wanted this stuff. All right, and then I'm going to have this too. All right, so a bit is to lesson. That's simple. Great. So I'm going to make an object like this and then keep all the words in there. I'm not sure I might go on doing all this. Looks a little bit tedious. We could also do a simple thing by just putting it in a file and then reading through the file and doing all that. But I don't want to worry us trying to code all that too, because that's not part of the session. We are trying to learn about Alexa. So let me add 2 more words and I think it's okay. So let me add alloy. Here. This should be good. All right, I think it's okay. So yeah, we have an object of words, right? And what we want to do is we want to create an intent handler for Alexa, so that when you say, Alexa will say, ask me anything. So Alexa will say, welcome everyone to this seminar. Welcome everyone to this seminar, right? You do something like this to the seminar. And then later on, okay, so I'll just add this up. Welcome everyone to this seminar. Ask me the meaning of a word, right? So this is how Alexa is going to respond the first time you call it out, and then ask me the meaning of a word. And then later, when you ask Alexa the meaning of the word, Alexa is going to respond by telling you the meaning of the word. Something simple, just simple as that. So yeah, this is going to be our launch request handler, like I said. Nothing changes from here. Now, one other thing I have to do is go back there and change my hello world intent handler back to, let's say, word handler, right? Or let's say word meaning handler, that kind of thing. So I'll come back here under my intent. I could create a new intent and then just leave the other one. So let me create a new one so it doesn't mess up this whole thing. So I'll create a new intent and then call it word meaning handler. Then it's going to be a custom one. So under this word meaning handler, what do I want people to be saying? So let me go back to the hello world and show you something. Now you realize from here, it was more like. Sorry, I want to share. So you realize from here, it was more like you were saying specific stuff, right? You were saying, Alexa, you were saying hello, hello everyone, how are you? Say hi and all that. But what if you want to be doing specific? We don't want to be picking specific things, but we want to be saying some things to Alexa, and then we want Alexa to respond or pick those things that we were saying to her, and then respond to us based on that, right? So we can do that too. So we can do that too. Let me go back to my intent I just created. Right, we can do that too by, where's my intent? Okay, so word meaning handler. We can do that too by using this, is it curly brackets or something, and then putting the name of what we want Alexa to pick up. And normally we call these things slots, right? Now, a slot is like a variable in programming. You want something to be dynamic. You don't want it to be a static word like hello or something. So you want to put something there so that it can replace what or whatever anyone says, so that it shouldn't be static. You see, initially it was like hello, hello, hello. But this time I want someone to say hello. I want someone to say alloy. I want someone to say this, right? I want people to be saying different things. So I can put a slot in there and I'll say word. So the slot is called the word, and this is how I want people to be asking. I want people to say, what is the meaning of, and then the word comes, right? So the word is dynamic now. It's not a static thing. Whatever you put there, Alexa can respond. Now, this slot is not defined, so the first thing you have to do is define that slot too, so that Alexa understands exactly what that slot should be. So here, I'm going to add that slot to my project, or to my whole kind of thing, my whole project thing. And then down here, is the slot? Should we see the slot here? Good. Next thing, let me add this utterance to the intent, so that makes sense. So down here, you see I have the slot here. I have to select the slot type, and I want the slot type to be now we can make the slot type a name, region, book, author, comic, anything we want could be here. But I'm going to choose good. I'm going to choose a search query, right? A search query could be anything. I could go in for first. Let me just choose one thing so that we can make that sample and try that. So let me choose something like where's the name? Let me search for name. So Amazon.first name, for instance. So when I use something like this, that means that Alexa is expecting most of the things that should be coming inside the slot to be names, right? Or to be first names, right? That's the whole point. If I choose something like US states or video game, then Alexa is expecting majority of the things that should be coming here to be states, right? That's the whole point. So let me start with the search query. A search query could be anything, right? That's why I want to use that. I don't want to restrict it to a name or this or this. I want to use a search query. So yeah, that's it. So here we want people to be saying what is the meaning of, and then this slot word here is of type a search query, right? So it could be anything that the user wants, right? And that's it. I have a simple model here. I can also do something like, what do you say? Let me make something like, what is, someone could also say something like, what is, and then bring the word, right? This also makes sense, so that Alexa will just say the meaning of that, right? So yeah, let me wrap up this simple thing again. We have something called an intent handler, and then, or let me say an intent, and then the intent is what you want or what you think the user might be saying to Alexa that you want to respond, right? So when you create an intent handler, or when you create, let me just change the name back to intent, so that it's not like you're going to create the handler in code, right? So this intent is going to handle everything, or this intent is going to handle all the, or have all the utterances that you think the user might be saying to Alexa, right? And then back in our code, you're going to write how we want to respond when the user brings up any of these things, right? So yeah, that's it. So with this simple utterance in there, I'm going to save the model now. And and then build it. All right. I think it's on 7. Yeah. So it's going to take a while, like I said initially, to build. All right, so great. After this is done building, I'm going to go back to my code. Good. Let me zoom up again so that we can see this. Yeah, and yeah, we are wrapping up. Yes, you'll be getting our skill done. So, like I said earlier, the hello world, this is too much. The hello world intent handler here, the hello world intent handler here is going to be handling anything that you say as part of the hello world intent, right? Now if you see from what we did back here, we created our own intent called the word meaning intent, right? So that means we have to create an intent handler so that when you say anything relating to that intent, as in what is the meaning of, let me say, word, it is now going to pick the word and now tell you the meaning of that. So we need to create a handler for that. So in order to do a handler, I'm not going to write everything from scratch. I'm going to just copy this and then paste it down here and then change the name from hello world intent handler to word meaning intent handler, right? As simple as that. And then another thing is you realize you have word meaning intent here, right? So I'm just going to copy this and then bring the word meaning intent here, right? And then done. So this is going to be checking if it is an intent request and then if it's handling the word meaning intent, right? That's it all, right? And then I have my simple handler. I have a handler handling this word meaning intent. That's it. Now, another thing is you realize we also have word here, a slot in here. That's when someone says something, you want to pick up from what the person is saying and then let Alexa respond to that, right? So in order to do that, before I even speak out anything, the first thing I have to do is to check if there is a slot there, right? So what I'm going to do is run something like, just hold on a sec. So before I even speak anything, I'm going to get the user's name or the word the user says. So I'm going to say the word is going to be equal to, now this is also going to feel a little bit codey. So from the handler input, I want to check the request envelope that the user sent, and then I want to check the request itself. I know this is a little bit codey, but we get it. And then I want to check from the intent, and I want to check from the slots. I'll show you how I was able to get this thing done. And then I want to check from, the word that I want, right? And then if there is something in there, I'll show you that after that. So from the handler inputs that the user is sending us, from this handler input, I want to check the request envelope and check from the request in there and check the intent and then check for the slots word, right? And then if there is something in there, so I can just do something like this. If there is a word, then I want to make the speak out. So in order to just do it, let me just do something like this. I know the Java thing kind of makes you always try to. So I'm just going to start with this. And then if there is a word, I'm going to find the meaning of a word here. So simple stuff. You already know I have words here, right? I have this words object here. So I can come down here and then do something like if there is a word here, if there is a word here, then I'm going to check.
Hello, please check the whether you WQRD. I think was the typo.
Yeah, I just fixed it. Yeah, I saw it. The word. Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Thanks very much. All right. So, where am I again? All right. So, yeah, thanks again. From the word, I'm going to check my input handler, my handler inputs the request, and then from the intents, I'll check for the slots and look for word. And then if there is a word in there, I'm going to check the meaning of the word, right? So I'm going to say, let me say const meaning is going to be equal to words of, no, sorry, it was an object, so I'll have to say, but I can still even do it this way. Still going to give me the word. So words of word. And then I think one more thing we should be doing, or I can just put this here. I'll just do something like, there is no, okay, I don't know of this. Or I can just make this simple. If you've not coded before, this is just simple. I don't want to be doing a lot of ifs here, but this is just simple. Just going to check if there is nothing inside, or if it's now or something, it's just going to say something else. So if there is nothing, I'll just say, I don't know this word yet, right? Does it? And then I'm going to be using this as my speak out text, right? So if there is a meaning to the word here, I'm just going to append it to this and then say that good. So I think one more thing I would like to do is add something like this, just to make the code a little bit shorter and smaller. So I'll use something like, no, it's not going to work. I guess this should be okay. All right, let me just keep it this way, just to make it simple. So I'm going to pick the meaning and then just add the meaning to the speak out word, right? I'll later modify this and make it nicer. I'll just add the meaning to the speak out word. Or let me just put a default value in here that I don't know this word. All right. So if there's a word, then I'm going to just put this here. And this is just simple. I can just put this speak out text here, take this out to make the code a little bit clean, right? So here's what we are doing. I'm already setting the speak out to I don't know this word, and then we will check if there is a word, and then I can now check the meaning of the word. If there is no word in there too, I'll just put this there. I don't know this word yet. Or I can even take this out since I'm already doing that here too. No, it's not going to work. So I'll just do this. This is the perfect way to go about it, right? And then good, I'm done. Or I can even do one more thing. Just take this out, put this away from there, and then just put this there. This should also work, right? I think. Yeah. What am I doing this? Speak out is a constant. All right. So one more thing, I have to make this a let so that I can just use this without me. So I think this should be good. One more thing I have to do is after I have my intent handler done, I need to register the intent handler in the application, right? So that when Alexa calls, it knows that this intent handler is being worked on. So I'll come all the way down here. You see, at the bottom here, we are sort of registering or let me say adding all the handlers that we have here to the app, right? Or to the skill, right? So in here, after I'm just going to put that right after the launch request handler, right? So the handler that I just created, I'm going to put it right after the launch request handler, and then boom, I think we have almost everything done now, right? So I know this was really quick, but it should make a couple of sense after you watch this video again on the YouTube channel, right? So I'm going to save it now. And then as it's saving, I'm just going to explain a few things. One, we check the word here by checking the handler input, the request envelope, the request, and then the intent. And then from the slots, we look for the word, right? And then the reason or how we are getting this word comes from the intents that we have already here. We've already created a slot called word, and then we are checking for that word from the slots, right? So in the slot, we are going to check, or we are first going to give a speak out text that I don't know this word, so that in case Alexa doesn't find the meaning of the word, she says that I don't know this word. But if she finds the meaning of the word, then she can just continue speaking this out. So I'm going to deploy this to you now. I hope there isn't any error in this. It's a few seconds there. And then should be having this. Okay, so yeah, we are done deploying. We can now test it out now. So I'll come back to my test again, and then I'll just refresh this whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to open it by saying open seminar skill. Okay, so
Welcome everyone to the seminar. Ask me the meaning of a word.
Good. So Alexa welcomes everyone and then asks access to ask the meaning of a word. So back here, I think I have two words, 2 or 3. I'm really sure. Okay, so I have alloy and a bit. So I'm going to ask of alloy. So I'll ask here, what is the meaning of, and then I'll put alloy there. And then press enter. Let's see.
I don't know this word.
Something weird happened now. Okay, so I can verify this by checking my responses here. So you remember I was saying something about in the request and all those weird things. So in the request, I'll check my intents, and then in the intents, I'll check for the slots, and then the word, and then the name. Oh, I missed one more thing. It was supposed to be the word and then the value, right? So I missed that part. I have to come back to that. So the value is rather going to give me the alloy. All right, so I have to come back to my code and then fix that in. Where is it? Okay, so back here, after I get the word, I have to find the value of the word. And now this gives me the actual value. Let's save again and deploy. All right, time is almost fast spent, and we should be wrapping up. Okay, so we have this now. Let's try it again and see. I'm just refreshing just to make sure everything is working all right. I could still start it again and then just continue, but it's better I just refresh and then make sure things are okay. All right, so I'll start again by saying open seminar skill. And then, yeah.
Welcome everyone to the seminar. Ask me the meaning of a word.
So what is the meaning of alloy? And then she says,
To debase by mixing with something inferior.
See how great it is, right? So yeah, this is it. There is how to build a skill. I know it feels like we are just doing the typing part, but this defeats the whole purpose of the presentation, right? I know the whole presentation was about being able to speak to Alexa. So let's try this thing in action now. I'm just going to press on this Microsoft microphone sign and then just ask Alexa again. So I'm just going to open seminar skill.
Welcome everyone to the seminar. Ask me the meaning of a word.
Great. What is the meaning of alloy? I hope she gets the word. Oh, so
to debase by mixing with something inferior.
Right. So this is great. This is all that we've been talking about. Sometimes it's difficult to just sit by the PC and be typing stuff, right? But if you have a conversational interface, it's way simpler to do things like this. So I know this is just a short seminar, so we can't be going through everything that we can do with Alexa, but there are endless possibilities. There was once this presentation we did at AITI where we hooked Alexa to some IoT devices, right? So you could ask Alexa to turn off your lights and all that. We worked with the message one that I talked about during the presentation, that we could also let you send messages to Alexa, and then Alexa will pick all those messages up and then work on that. There is also this platform called Twilio. I tried it once, but I've not been using it for a while. But Twilio allows you for these kind of things. So you can also hook it to Alexa. So I think what you can do is try and hook your WhatsApp to Alexa, and then Alexa kind of things all around, so that when people start sending you messages from WhatsApp, you can read them with Alexa, right? So there are a lot of endless possibilities in there. I want to talk about this thing called SSML. SSML is a way to customize the Alexa language, right? So the way Alexa is speaking, most of you might not like it, right? So you can change the language to British, you can change the language to French, anything you want in there. So SSML means speech synthesis markup language. And then let me try just one of them. Yeah, so here are a few things you can do. You can change the effect, the emotion, you can add audio to it, you can add breaks, make it pause for a while, you can add prosody, you can make it say as a different person. So let me try emotion. Yeah, this one for instance. I'm just going to copy this one, bring it back here. Under this, I have voice tone. You see, we have something like that here. I can just change this back here and then play this.
5 seconds till lift off.
Now
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You see how it sounds? It sounds like she's so excited, right? Let me try another thing here. Yeah, I'm going to use a different voice. Someone called Kendra.
I really didn't know how this morning was going to start. And if I had known, I think I might have just stayed in bed.
Now you see how this doesn't sound like the usual Alexa voice that we've been hearing, right? And you could do more. You can add this to the code too, right? So I don't know, just time is just we're going, so I wouldn't be doing all this, but there are a lot more you could do. I wouldn't try this again, but let me go back to the resources again. Another thing is called the Alexa Toolkit. Let's open it up. Okay, so the Alexa Toolkit allows you to integrate Alexa into your VS Code so that you can code all these things directly from VS Code and test them without having to open a browser and all that. Sometimes I like to do this in the browser because I just want things to be stable for now. The VS Code was recently released, so I just don't want to be touching that a lot. But it's really cool. You can try it out too. It's just an extension. You go to VS Code and then you open up your extensions. You see that too. There's another one to call the APL, Alexa Presentation Language. What this does is it allows you to get a graphical user interface for Alexa. So maybe when I was saying what is the meaning of the word here, I can let Alexa show the words in text and then have some nice interfaces in addition. Let me just try and open here. I have Alexa installed here. Just try and see if I can open it back from here. One more tab. Try here. I don't know if I can do something for it to see that, but she's still not up for, yeah. But what this does is sometimes when you're presenting something, you can let Alexa see this and add pictures, videos or something. That's the APL, Alexa Presentation Language. There is also another one called the AVS. Now, AVS allows you to add Alexa to your own built devices. So maybe if you have a Raspberry Pi or if you have some Arduinos and all that, and then you want to make your own device, you can download or you can clone the Alexa voice service onto the device and then hook things up and get up your own thing. This is one thing I've been trying this year. I started last year, but I couldn't get a chance. I was very busy, so I couldn't finish it up. So that's one thing, something I will just be working on too this year. So yeah, these are a couple of things. I think I talked about the AVS again. And then one more thing, Bixby. I know someone might ask, why do I like using Alexa? Like I said, I tried all the others. I tried Google, I tried Cortana, I tried Bixby. I tried, I think when I was trying Bixby, I didn't have a Samsung phone here, so I skipped that. And then I tried, what is this guy's called? IBM's Watson too. I tried Watson. And then again, I think there are a couple of others too I tried, but I think I fell in love with Alexa. Yeah, Alexa was really good. So yeah, that's it. There are a lot more you can do with this. I feel like with Alexa, you are not restricted. You have a lot of possibilities. You have whatever you want to build, you can do with Alexa, right? So yeah, that's it. I believe that if we all learn to design for voice interfaces, we can all help set voice free. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a presentation. Ship it up. But then your screen too. Mostly, I don't know if it's because my phone screen is too small.
Yeah. So I think
Unless
it's
I
because of the
zoom.
phone screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
So
actually
sometimes
zoom the stuff in by using your fingers to pinch the screen. You can actually zoom it in when you're looking at the code. So you can try that.
okay, because sometimes you zoom it and then later on when the pointer is somewhere else, you'll be scrolling to see where is he, and
Yeah.
it
No
makes it
problem. I
difficult.
think I'll be putting the video on YouTube so you can check that out too later if you couldn't see everything out, right?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Any other questions? So I'm going to put the links to in the chat. The link to this one, and then the link to the slides too. I think you should all have access to it. Any other questions? All right, great. So, like I said, there are a lot more you can do with Alexa. You just have to try it out and then get to know exactly what you want. If you want to build your own device, you can use Alexa. If you want to integrate it with something else, you can use Alexa. Whatever you want to do, you can use Alexa, even if you want to build your own bot, right? So, yeah, that's it. We should all learn and try and design voice. And if we all try and do that, we can set voice free, right? So we'll be having the next seminar in about 5-10 minutes. Chloe will be handling that. I think I might not try sharing the. Okay, let me see if I have that in my calendar now. Yeah, so yeah, I have the link to here. I'm just going to put up that too in the chat, but I think what we also try and do is put that too in the other groups. It's already there. When you can go to the site right now and just join. Let me just creativitygroup.org, and then from there. All right, so when you get to wait, so events and training, this is just going to mess me up. All right, so we kept this here, mobile app development with Flutter. And down here, you should get the link to the next meetup. No, yeah, the link is here. When you click, it should take you to the next meeting. All right, so if you are having problems with the link from the chat, you can just come to the website, just click on this and take you directly to the link. I'll be putting the video on YouTube so you can check it out more. If you want to learn more, I guess you might have to join one of our chapters. We might be doing this very often, but it's virtual and we might not be able to. We just have to turn this off. Yeah, we might not be able to go in depth and then dive into all the things that you want. So I've kept the link to the other one in there. You can just check out from there and listen to the mobile app development with Flutter seminar. All right, so it's just going to be goodbye for now. See you in the other seminar.